You ever notice how the harder you try to stop thinking about something, like a cringy moment or a worry that just won't quit, the louder it gets in your head? It's this weird, frustrating thing where our own willpower seems to be working against us. Well, today we're going to get into exactly why that happens and look at how an idea that's over a century old gives us a really practical, modern way to handle it. So let's just start right there. Why does fighting a thought, trying to wrestle it to the ground, seem to give it more power instead of less? I mean, it feels totally backward, right? We're taught that if we just apply more force, more grit, we should be able to win any mental battle. But, as I think we've all found out, that's just not how the mind really works. And this right here, captures that losing battle perfectly. When we try to suppress a thought, we accidentally trigger what some psychologists call an ironic process. Think about it. To make sure you're not thinking about a white bear, some part of your brain has to keep checking for a white bear, which, of course, keeps it right at the front of your mind. By fighting the thought, you're shining a spotlight directly on it. You're feeding it the very energy it needs to grow.
Okay, so if fighting it is a terrible strategy, what's the alternative? This is where we can look back to a really powerful idea from the writer William Walker Atkinson. He said we need to stop trying to overpower our thoughts and instead become skilled mental engineers. See, it's not about brute force. It's about the art of skillfully and deliberately directing where our attention goes.
So here's the big shift in thinking we need to make. We're redefining mental control. It's not some internal wrestling match. It's the subtle but incredibly powerful skill of choosing where your focus goes. It's less like a fight and more like gently but firmly turning the rudder of a ship. It's about direction, not demolition. Let's run with that idea. Think of your mind as a car. If your mind is the car, then your attention is the steering wheel. You can't just wish the potholes away or fight the road itself, but you absolutely have 100% control over where you steer. And wherever you point that steering wheel, your thoughts, feelings, and actions are sure to follow. And this leads to something really fundamental about how our brains work. This isn't just a nice idea, it's basically how neuroplasticity works. You know how a path through a forest gets clearer and wider the more people walk on it? It's the same with our brains. The thoughts you consistently focus on, the ones you rehearse, literally carve out these default highways in your brain. You're not just thinking a thought, you're training your brain what to think about next time. So how do we actually use this? Well, it all comes down to the single most important strategy we're going to talk about. Seriously, if you take only one thing away today, let it be this. The best way to deal with an unwanted thought is not to fight it, but to replace it. Just look at the difference here between the two approaches. It's night and day. Suppression is a head-on fight. It just pours gasoline on the fire by giving that negative thought all of your attention. But replacement? That's a strategic shift. You're not trying to fight the darkness, you're just turning on a light. By actively focusing on something else, you starve that negative thought of the attention it's desperate for, and over time, you just crowd it out.
This just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? A thought is just a little bit of mental energy. Trying to destroy it with force is like trying to smash a wave with a hammer. All you're going to do is create a bigger, messier splash. The energy doesn't go away, it just gets more chaotic. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but how does it actually work when you're feeling stressed out or annoyed or fighting off a bad habit? Let's get really practical and look at 3 common situations where you can start applying this replacement principle, like today. Okay, so at work, when that big wave of overwhelm hits you from your giant to-do list, don't fight the feeling, just replace it. Deliberately focus all your mental energy on the very next single, smallest thing you need to do. Or in a relationship, when you feel that flash of irritation at someone, don't wrestle with it. Instead, steer your mind to one specific thing you genuinely appreciate about them. And when a craving for a bad habit kicks in, don't just tell yourself, no, no, no. Replace that thought loop with a better thought you already planned out, like vividly imagining how great you'll feel once you've beaten the craving.
Now, to help turn this into a real skill, here's a simple little drill you can start practicing immediately. Think of it like a push-up for your attention muscle. It's a super simple process for steering your mind in real time whenever you catch yourself going off track. So here are the 3 steps. First, just notice the thought when it shows up. Don't get mad at yourself for having it. That's just more resistance. Second, calmly acknowledge it. It's almost like you're just nodding at a stranger passing you on the street. No need to fight them or talk to them. Just, there's that worry thought again. And finally, step 3 is to steer. Gently but firmly shift your attention to something else you've already picked out. Maybe a happy memory, what you're excited about for the day, or even just the feeling of your feet on the floor.
And that's really what this all boils down to. The world you experience isn't just what's happening out there. It's shaped, moment by moment, by what you choose to put your focus on in here. By getting good at steering your attention, you really do become the architect of your own inner world.
So the question really isn't whether you can stop unwanted thoughts from ever showing up. The real question is, where will you choose to steer next? If this was helpful, feel free to continue on to our next explainer. And you can always find all the related ideas in our Thought Vibration playlist. Thanks for being here.